All right, diving deep today into One Greater Than John, a lecture by Neville Goddard. You know, the power of imagination guy.
Right.
This one's wild, even for Goddard.
Oh, yeah.
So instead of biblical figures being, actual people, he's saying they're like states of consciousness we all go through.
Yeah.
Ever felt like you were in a specific phase in life?
Oh, yeah, totally.
That's what we're looking at today.
It's like those figures are more psychological, like archetypes. Goddard says understanding those states, how we, move through them, unlocks some serious personal power.
Okay, so let's start with John the Baptist.
Okay.
Goddard connects him to, well, restriction, self-denial.
Yeah.
And it's not just theory for him. He actually lived through it.
I am.
Went from enjoying any food to strict vegetarian, like overnight, for 7 years.
Wow.
Makes you wonder, right?
Wow.
What causes those shifts in us? Sudden, like almost out of nowhere, like something just changes.
Like, totally.
Yeah.
And Goddard doesn't stop at food. He calls this whole thing doing violence to one's appetite.
Violence to one's appetite.
Yeah.
Intense. So, like, really suppressing desires, not just food, right?
Right.
Makes me think about those times you try to force change, sheer willpower. Like, is that what he's getting at?
Could be. He even talks about this friend, Abdullah, did a super strict diet for 40 years, then suddenly changed.
40 years?
Yeah. Makes you think, can we really change that way? Or is it just like setting us up to rebound later?
Good point. Okay, so John the Baptist is restriction. What's the alternative? Is there a way out of that struggle?
This is where Goddard's Jesus Christ gets interesting.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Go on.
So for him, Jesus Christ isn't a person. It's that state of liberation, fulfillment, opposite of John the Baptist's limits.
So if John the Baptist is like resisting what we want, then Jesus Christ is embracing what?
Goddard says it's all about understanding the power of our imagination. He actually claims he manifested a trip to Barbados just by vividly imagining being there.
That Barbados story.
Yep.
But wait, just imagining something makes it real.
It's more nuanced than that. He believed it's not just the picture, but feeling it too, So Barbados, not just the beach, but the sun, the sand, the whole experience.
Oh, so it's aligning your inner world with what you want out there.
You got it. He even ties it to repentance. Not so much feeling bad, but changing your whole perspective.
Rewriting the script, basically.
Exactly.
This is mind-blowing. So we have more control than we think, huh?
Yeah.
But how do we get from John to Jesus? Just positive thinking.
Deeper than that, he talks about a passage, Luke 16:16. It says people enter God's kingdom violently, and he felt this.
Wait, violently?
Not like physical violence.
Okay, good.
He felt this huge energy, like a spiritual awakening, but not destructive.
An explosion of awareness, not aggression.
Yeah. And this brings up a big question. What does that kind of shift feel like? Can we even choose it?
Great question to think about. Seems like there's a whole level of awareness beyond our everyday,
Absolutely.
And maybe that's the key to breaking free from those John the Baptist limitations.
It's fascinating, isn't it? And that makes you think maybe we've all felt glimpses of this Jesus Christ consciousness without realizing it. Like those times when, bam, everything clicks. Maybe that's it. A bit of that Jesus Christ awareness without us even knowing.
Intriguing. But this whole one greater thing, it's almost like a paradox, right?
No.
Even with all that restriction, he's still important. Why is there someone greater?
That's where Goddard's view on these figures being states, not people, gets really insightful. It's not a ladder, climb up and done. It's a journey, more like an evolution, yeah. He even suggests that John, with all the limits, might be what you need to get to Jesus.
So not skipping John, but learning from it. But what do we gain from all that restriction, denial? Seems like the opposite of growth, right?
Right, but think, sometimes you gotta hit rock bottom to really change. Maybe those times force us to face our limits, build up some spiritual strength like self-discipline training.
Interesting, like those hardcore workouts. Push yourself, it sucks, but it's for something better later.
Exactly, and maybe, just maybe, those violence to appetite moments, they're what make the Jesus freedom so good. Because we've been through the other side.
So not staying restricted forever, but using it to launch yourself higher, like a caterpillar. Got to go through that cocoon thing to become the butterfly, right?
What a great analogy. And maybe that's the violence he meant. Breaking out of those old limits. Sudden, dramatic, but towards something bigger.
This is making a lot of sense, okay?
Yeah.
But if Jesus is embracing imagination, How do we know it's not just wishful thinking? How's that different from real manifesting?
That's where the feeling part comes in big time for Goddard. It's not just the mental picture, it's embodying the feeling of what you want. He even said, like, feeling is the secret.
Feeling is the secret. I like that. But how do we do that? Force ourselves to be happy 24/7.
Nah, more nuanced. He wasn't saying to ignore bad feelings. It's more like you notice them, acknowledge them, but then choose to focus on better ones. Like, emotional muscle training.
Ah, so not just thinking about what we want, but like rehearsing the feeling of already having it.
Yeah, creating that new emotional reality inside. That's where imagination is powerful. Making those experiences in your mind so vivid, you feel them.
So not just, I want to be successful, but picturing myself, like celebrating a win, feeling proud, joyful, tricking my mind into thinking it's already real.
Exactly. It's that full immersion in the feeling of it. Like your imagination is the blueprint for your reality to follow.
This is incredible, but also sounds like a lot of work, discipline. Can we really keep that up all the time?
Good question, and lots of people struggle with that. Even Goddard said, look, spiritual transformation isn't always easy or straightforward. There's ups and downs, doubts, you name it.
So it's not about some perfect state of always being positive, but learning to handle the tough stuff that's going to come up anyway.
Exactly, and maybe that's where the violence of the kingdom comes in again. Being willing to face those limits, challenge the old ways of thinking, keep pushing even when it's uncomfortable.
Like marathon training. You don't run 26 miles without hitting a wall, right?
Right.
But you got to keep going, trust the process, believe you'll get there.
Powerful analogy. And maybe those doubts, those uncertainties, those are actually important parts of it. They make us dig deeper, find that strength we didn't even know we had.
It's like those weightlifting moves
Yeah.
where you tear the muscle to make it stronger, right? Maybe tough times are like that for our spirit.
Brilliant way to put it. And maybe that's what Goddard meant by Jesus Christ being reached through grace. It's not forcing it through effort. It's a realization that comes when you surrender to the process, Let yourself be transformed by what you go through.
So not about some perfect ideal, but embracing the messy, imperfect journey, the growth, the changes.
Exactly. And maybe the real violence is how much we resist that. Cling to the old ways, scared to let go, embrace the unknown.
Like we're fighting against the very thing that's trying to help us.
Beautiful way to put it. The real key to Jesus Christ might be to surrender, trust the flow, let it carry us to our best selves.
This is all so profound, but how do we actually use this stuff? It seems so big, so theoretical.
That's the thing. Goddard addressed that too. He said these aren't just fancy ideas, they're tools to actually change your life.
So not just reading about it or listening to this deep dive, but doing something with it.
Exactly. And he had all these techniques, practices to help people actually do it.
Like what? Examples. I'm all ears.
Well, he was big on visualization. Not just daydreaming, but your imagination literally shaping your reality.
So making those strong mental pictures of the life we want, the person we want to be.
Right. And the key, he said, is to use all your senses. Make it real in your mind.
Not just seeing it, but feeling it, hearing it, even smelling it, tasting it, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly. Like planting seeds in your subconscious mind, those vivid images.
Programming ourselves for success.
Yeah.
Building that blueprint.
You got it. The more you practice, the stronger that creative power gets, the more your inner world and your outer world, they line up.
This is empowering. We're taking charge, shaping our own destiny with our minds.
Exactly. And another big one for Goddard was affirmations.
Affirmations, like saying positive stuff to yourself.
Yeah. He said they reprogram your subconscious, like replacing bad beliefs with good ones.
So choosing the thoughts we want to think, the beliefs we want to hold on to.
Right. And the strongest ones, he said, are in the present tense, like it's already happening.
So not, I want to be healthy, but I am healthy, I am vibrant. Like that.
Exactly. But not just repeating words, you got to feel it too.
Visualize myself being that healthy, vibrant person, feeling that energy.
Right. The more you embody it, the more it sinks into your mind.
Makes sense. So how often should I be doing these affirmations?
Whenever you need a boost. But Goddard also said, use them with your visualization. Makes those images even stronger, more emotional.
Powerful combo. What about revision? We touched on that before, but how do you actually do it?
Revisions like rewriting past experiences to be more empowering, line up with what you want.
Changing the story we tell ourselves about what happened.
Yep. Goddard said the past doesn't define us. We can reframe it, see it from a new angle.
Instead of dwelling on the bad stuff, we rewrite it to support our growth.
Right. Not denying what happened, but focusing on the lessons, the good that came out of it.
Taking back our power, owning our stories, using them to help us change.
Beautifully put. He said revision heals old wounds, breaks those limiting beliefs, builds a better story for our lives.
So how do we actually do it?
One way is to go back to that experience in your mind, but imagine it happening differently, better.
Like visualize myself acting differently, reacting differently, aligned with who I am now.
Exactly. Use all your senses, make it as real as possible.
See it, hear it, feel it, smell it, even taste it. Wow.
And as you replay it, feel the good emotions that would have been there if it really happened that way.
Joy, relief, satisfaction, whatever fits.
Right. You're literally reprogramming your mind, replacing that old memory with a better one.
Amazing. We're rewriting the past to make a better present.
Exactly. Goddard said this can be huge for people. Healing, letting go of old junk, making a more powerful future.
This is so freeing. Like we're allowed to let go of the past, step into the new future that WE create.
Exactly. And remember, these are just a few of Goddard's techniques. He said, find what works for you, make it part of your life.
So no strict rules, just explore, experiment, and find what clicks.
Right. And a big thing for him was having faith in the process, not blind belief, but trusting your own inner knowing, the power of your mind.
Believing in ourselves that we can create what we want.
Exactly. That belief, it's not something you force. It comes naturally when you start seeing the power you have, those results.
Like a muscle gets stronger the more you use it.
Yes. And as that faith grows, so does your ability to change. You see the world differently, face challenges with more confidence, more creativity.
This is so empowering. Like we're allowed to dream big, believe in the impossible, make a reality that truly matches our heart.
Absolutely. Goddard reminds us we're not limited by the past, by what's happening around us. We're limited by what WE believe.
So breaking free from those beliefs, the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, what's possible.
Precisely. He says, use your imagination to break free, create a reality that matches your true desires.
This is revolutionary. It's like we're given the keys to our own freedom, our own power.
Exactly. Goddard challenges us to take those keys and unlock our full potential.
This is all amazing, but honestly, it's all not.
Yeah.
Any examples of this actually working for people? Real life stuff.
Tons. People from all walks of life using these ideas to do incredible things. From healing themselves to finding love, building careers, it's all there.
Wow, so these principles really do work. If we put in the work, trust the process.
Exactly. Don't get overwhelmed by it all. Start small, try things out, celebrate those wins along the way.
Baby steps, patience, and believing in our own power to create the life we want.
Exactly. And remember, this journey of self-discovery, it's an adventure. It has challenges, but also amazing rewards. It has challenges, but also amazing rewards.
So embrace those ups and downs. You know, the twists and turns, let those experiences change you for the better.
Exactly. And maybe that's the real violence of entering that kingdom. It's like shattering those old beliefs that hold us back.
Breaking free, yeah.
Breaking those chains from the past, becoming something bigger.
Wow. Speaking of breaking free, what about that Exodus story? Seems perfect for this whole one greater than John thing.
It is. Remember, for Goddard, it's not about the history, but the states of mind. So those Israelites escaping Egypt. That's U.S. escaping our own mental slavery.
So Egypt isn't a place, it's like a state of being stuck.
Right. Think about it. When do you feel trapped? By your own thoughts, anxieties, whatever holds you back. Those are the chains Goddard's talking about.
Makes sense?
And Moses, leading them out. That's our own inner wisdom guiding us to freedom.
We each have a little Moses inside, waiting to bust us out.
Exactly. But it's not easy. Remember when they hit the Red Sea? Seemingly nowhere to go.
Oh yeah, totally.
For Goddard, that's the challenges we all face. Doubts, obstacles, making us wonder if freedom's even real.
Like when you're changing, but then you hit that point where it's like, ugh, maybe the old way was easier, even if it wasn't good for you.
But Goddard would say, keep going. The sea parts, right. A way forward appears. Even when we're stuck, there eye us away. Trust that inner voice. Be brave enough to move on.
I like that. But they will wander the desert for years, right?
Yeah.
Not exactly freedom.
That's the thing about real change. It's not a straight shot to some perfect place, that wandering. It's the ups, the downs, all that testing and refining as we let go of the old, become the new.
So it's the journey, not the destination that matters.
Yeah. Just like they eventually reach the promised land, we can reach that liberation Goddard talks about, but it takes time, gotta be patient, keep moving even when things are uncertain.
Okay, so it's all connecting now. The states of consciousness, those stories, the techniques we talked about. It's about moving from John to Jesus, right? Restriction to freedom.
Exactly. And it all starts within US. Not waiting for someone to save us, but realizing that power is already there inside.
This has been mind-blowing. Thanks for making these complex ideas so clear, so, relatable.
Happy to do it. I love this stuff, Exploring what makes us tick, that hidden potential we all have.
And for our listeners, keep exploring. Dive into Goddard, try out those techniques, see how they change your life.
That's it. Remember, discovering yourself, it's an adventure. Challenges, but also rewards, like we've been saying.
So embrace it all. The ups, the downs, let it all shape you.
Exactly. And maybe, just maybe, that real violence of entering the kingdom. It's about letting go of who we think we are, what we think is possible. It's becoming something more, creating a world full of, well, everything good, love, joy, abundance.
What a great way to wrap this up. Thanks for joining us today, everyone. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, keep believing in that power inside you.